we record after I.
All right, give me 1 second. So let's first start with this. Really slow internet. I have a 400 Mbps. Strange. Give me 1 second. Let's keep settling here. What's wrong with this? Yeah, it was just sleeping and my internet slow. All right, so Saujanya and everybody else. We have a Jenkins master, right? And we'll spend just about 5 to maximum 10 minutes on this, not more than that, okay? Jenkins master by default has 2 executors, right? So if you do not add any node, when you run a job, the jobs run either here or here. Do you all agree on that? Part number 1?
Yes.
Okay, the second model that we had was, we added 1 node, extra node, EC2 node, right? And we added 2 executors for it. We had 0 executor for this one, but what we did was we registered node, this 1 node. And you remember we established the handshake between them, the certificates were shared, so on and so forth. Remember that, right?
Yes.
So now when we start a job, the job either runs here or here, okay? The beauty that we get out from here is now, if you register node 1 and then node 2, let's say, and I add executors over here. I can add 2, I can add 10, I can add as many as I want based on what are the resources available and what kind of a job I'm trying to run. For example, if I'm trying to run a job that at any given time requires 1 GB of RAM, and this system has only 2 GB of RAM, I will not be able to add more than 2 executors. Okay, that's how you normally do the calculation, which we didn't get into the details of it, right? We never thought about how do we put executors. Can I just put 100 executors over here? No, you cannot. The reason is, if a job requires 200 MB of RAM at any given time, that 2 GB what you'll have will be lost very soon. So you cannot have more than that executors, because when we say executors, they're parallelly running job at any given time. All right. So now this is EC2 again, but this is node is registered, this node is registered. So now when I submit a job to the master nodes either to run it here or run it here. But if these are both are full, it'll go and run it over here. I mean, it definitely doesn't do it that way. It doesn't fill up one and then fill up the other one. There's a logic in which they will distribute it equally. So now my question to you, Saujanya, is you have a master, you have created an auto scaling group with EC2 instances being increased, unless and until you add this master itself into this auto scaling group, that, okay, master, you already have two executors to you. When your executors get full, your whole instance will get recreated again. And then that get full, the other instance will get recreated again. You have no way to tell unless you're registering the agents that these are agents. So my question is, what are we auto scaling? Are we auto scaling the masters itself?
The whole master itself.
That's where I'm telling you. So that's a good thing. But the problem is the whole master is going to be replicated, and the whole master along with it, it will also bring the disk with it. So from that sense, to me, that's not the right model. Because you remember the Nirvana model that we're talking about? The Nirvana model is there'll be one master, there'll be another master. One is primary, one is secondary. Remember that, right? And there's a load balancer in front of it. And behind this, behind each one of them, there is fleet of EC2 instances. each one of them. And all of them basically write to one disk, the EFS disk that we talked about. Get my point, right? So this is not a bad model, but for Jenkins, I think we do not want to follow this approach. We want to follow the approach of we want to scale the EC2 instance. So I think that EC2 plugin probably is our way to go in a Nirvana model. Any doubts in that, whatever I'm trying to say here?
No, Samir, I'm good.
It's clear, right? So auto scaling is definitely a good concept. Okay, so everybody will have to look at it. Does everybody understands auto scaling, or do we need to? I mean, I think we already about 5 minutes up there. Does everybody understand what is auto scaling? We talked about it at length earlier.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Good. Let's go ahead and Sojanya, I cleared your point, right? Why I was asking that question. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Right. Let's go and did anybody try to run like this locally, the job?
Yes. Framework and services?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, the setup is done.
Okay. Let's get started here.
I have created Slack notifications, Samir.
Oh, nice.
And send invitation to all of you.
Oh, lovely. Did you send it to me too?
Yeah, Samir.
To join Slack workspace?
Yeah. I created a channel and a Jenkins file pipeline.
Did you send an email?
Yes, Samir.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I got it. Nice. This is not your office Slack, right?
No, not obviously. It's my own channel.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, we'll join there. We're already on it now. Okay. All right, let's get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the test project from here. And I'm going to delete the Java project from here. I'm going to remove the JUnit dependency because I don't need it for now. So instead of removing it, I'll just comment it out. This is my it's fine. You're able to hear me well?
Yes, Samir.
Oh. There's nothing to compile actually because we do not have any class. We'll write one very simple class. Right, so that is good. Let's go ahead and add a very simple class. Okay, I've added a very simple class called utility. In that utility class, I just want to have one method to demonstrate this, right? We are not writing a Java code. So we'll write a very simple method which will add two numbers just to keep it very, very simple. You know, we could have even said greet, but you know what? Let's do that. So So you click that. Good. So I want to add a package for it, just to be putting it under. Good. So this came inside a package. That's great. So we have a very simple utility method over here where we'll set a message, get a message, and then we'll say Blake. Let's keep it simple. I don't want to complicate it. Let's just say message plus. So if the message was set as hello, it will say hello username. If the message was set as good morning, it will say good morning, whatever the username is, Samir, whatever, right? Very simple. Any questions on this class implementation? I don't think so. You should even ask. It's very simple, right? So let's go ahead and build this. Rather, I would deploy. Have distribution management anywhere? I think we did put distribution management in the EPOM, correct? No?
Typo error, Samir. Instead
Clean.
of clean, you type
Yeah.
clear.
Thank you. So it is saying, okay, so we did not define distribution management. I remember we did a deploy last time, but it was for EPOM only, maybe. We didn't need to do it for others. So let's go and fix that problem. Okay, since we've already come here and we've talked about this before, does everybody remember what a distribution management is in Maven?
Yes, Samir.
Okay. Sojana, you remember what is the distribution management?
Yes, Samir.
Okay, good. So let's not talk about that. Let's go quickly and check which one is ours. This is ours, right? This we couldn't delete. Or yeah. Right. Let's go ahead and add distribution management. And I think we have already done distribution management in one place. Let's take it up from there. So instead of adding it for each and every project now, right, what I'm trying to do is control it from the EPOM. It's in EPOM. I'm just going to go and add distribution management section over here, and the release keys. And the name, we can add whatever name we want, but this name also is fine. If you want to add some logical name, you can add that too. Here. Add the command to deploy to here last time. Anybody has it handy? The command to deploy. Yeah. No. Anybody has it?
No, Samir. No. Not, I don't have it.
We'll construct it from here. There's another one to deploy. Repository ID should match one of this, so we want to use releases. That's what we will use. Yeah, that kind of looks good. We just need to get the URL, and then we have JFrog open somewhere.
I found it, Samir. Should I share or you want to continue?
No, share it. If you have it, just share it. Because I'll have to go to JFrog otherwise.
Yeah, I just pasted in chat.
Okay, this is what I was looking for. But I want to see that it goes to releases. Yeah, still on snapshot, so let's just use snapshots then. So to see the full stack, POM not found.
Access is denied.
Does it say access denied? It says POM not found, right? Romana, who's reading it? Access denied?
Yeah, I read it. There was access denied at the top.
That was the older one. Where do you see access denied here?
Yeah, right below POM not found. If you read the whole message before help, access is denied.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
But why would it not? Oh, what's wrong with this one here? Windows. The Windows thing looks like. It still says POM not found. See Samir DevOps. Okay, let's not do it.
Did you use that hyphen u option
-u
for
will,
clearing the cache? Yeah. Now that you made some
that is
change.
for retrying snapshot. So let's not do it from here. Let's do it from outside. Sometimes I think this is PowerShell. Yeah, there you go. That would be the issue. Okay. I'll have to change this a bit. Snapshot or snapshots? What was it?
Snapshots.
Snapshots.
And that forward arrow, do you need to change it back for DPOM file?
I will change all of those, yes. I'll make sure it's see that it's a PowerShell thing. So it went in with the distribution management now. So let's go ahead and get, I want to close this guy here. Git bash. Okay. For now, let's go to the other one. Also, let's open up. Okay, so this should have gone to JFrog, and I probably will have to open up JFrog to use. Framework, right? That's the one. Or download it for a second. So here's the download. To make sure my class is in there. Yep. So that's mine. You see that, right? Utility.class. Next, what we want to do quickly is So let's say we are done with this one. We'll come back to this if needed to do a release. Let's say people want to start working with the frame services now, right? So let's go to service. And you have to pay attention over here, what I'm doing now. That's it. Now we have the services project also opened up over here, right? And in services project, what we want to do is we want to write, first of all, let's do the same thing what we did for framework. Let's go ahead and back off this classes, which we do not want. Test class also, we'll get rid of it. Dependency. Okay, I would need a dependency over here, but the dependency that I need is, and again, I'm following the least common denominator approach, wherein first of all, I want to make myself happy that everything works. Okay, I don't know whether I gave this tip to you last time or not, but this is another critical tip that you should always serve yourself with, is to give yourself smaller happiness every single time, personal or professional, right? So now what I've done is I've deleted the files that I don't want, and I commented out the dependency that I do not want. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that it still can build. If it doesn't build, you have something to worry about. But if it builds, your first happiness is achieved, right? Then you move to the next one. Many a times what people do is they will do everything, and then it starts breaking. They will try to revert something. Then they will build. Then they will try to revert something else. Then they'll build. It's a lot of pain to your brain. Don't do that. Bring a platform to the least common denominator and then start capturing it slow and steadily. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on messaging today, but I hope you get this message. It's a pretty critical message. Just write it down if you have to write it down somewhere. It's almost similar to the context switching pattern that I showed you last time. Right, so let's move to the next one. The next thing that we really want to do is we want to write a class which will greet the user, okay? And this is all dummy project, okay? We will probably do a good project later on once you understand the concept. So what I'll do here is I will call a class called user.java. And in user.java, read user.java. And in here, I'm going to write public static void main. And again, to make myself happy, I'm going to write yeah, this works, right? This gives me a level of happiness that, okay, I'm coding it right. Let's move to the next level. So I'll comment this out, which I might require in the future. And what I will do is I want to bring in the class from framework. So what was the class basically? Again, I'm using a very different ID than I would usually use. I would use IntelliJ for this, but I think it suffices for us to write very simple code here. So what I will do, I will go to my framework. So in my, this is not framework, the framework. So in my framework, the package is Dlotusops-framework. So if I just add this over here, see this error, right? And it doesn't even let me give me any suggestion. So what we'll first do is we'll go ahead and add the dependency that we need. So we have to add the framework dependency for this. So let's find out what is that ID, artifact ID, version number that we need of the framework. So this is what it is, right? Group ID, artifact ID, and the version number of the framework. So let's copy this guy here. let's put, and do not worry about scope test for now. There's plenty of documentation for you to read, but the whole idea about test is if you need some dependencies just to do testing, unit testing, and those dependencies should never get packaged into your final jar or var or ER. And that's where you specify it as scope test. That means you do not want it bundled in the final artifact, but you need it during unit testing. Okay, that's what the scope is. But we just need this 3. Okay. Right. So with this little change, I still want to make sure that I get that little happiness. Good, still works. Then I go here and I would say import pom.dlotusops-framework. Do you see now how it shows up? And I need just utility, but I can put star, that's fine. And here I want to create an object of utility. Again, you don't have to remember all of this because this is Java. What message are you expecting to see when I run this program?
Hello, Samir.
Okay. Right. So it will return the message, correct? And then we have to print that message out. Now it should say that. Hello, Samir, right? And now if I change it to good morning, it should say good morning, Samir, so on and so forth. But that's not our intent. The intent is to understand how the implementations are going to use this now. So assuming that this is core, okay, this guy's core. Now let's add one more class, which will be and again, this is not convention, okay? I'm just writing it so that it's not too difficult for you to understand the concept, because writing Java is not my intent. Okay, I know you are not Java, but tell me why this error? Anybody? Why is this error?
Sorry, I was speaking on mute. I think you didn't import that package, framework package, right?
Yeah. Right, so we have two. One is I'll keep it this way so that it becomes easy. So I have two classes basically, greet user 2. Okay. Or I don't know whether, let's see if we can rename this to good morning, hello, and something else. Okay, so we have those two classes. And let's go ahead and start the real work now. So framework Okay, so I've pushed all of it. The first task for you is I want to release framework. Nothing to do with binary, but I want to release framework. What do I do? It is at version 100. I want to release it as version 100-1. Anybody can help me? Mansa, you should be able to.
1.0.0 hyphen
-1.
1. If we use honeycomb, RC1.
We don't have honeycomb. So Mansa, give me a command.
Yeah, version set command.
And before we do that, let's also start with EPOM, right? We'll update the EPOM to use the release version, not the snapshot version, because we saw everything is working end to end, correct? With the snapshot. So this is where the life cycle, and Romana, you are asking me what you would usually would do in the real work, right? This is most of the time what people will do. Okay, more or less. There might be magnification of effort to this, but more or less this is what you'll do. And we are covering that part right now. Okay, it has nothing to do with binary model, but let's cover this up. So just to avoid confusion. Have this guy, good. Right, so Dlotusops over here, cat pom.xml grep version. We are looking at version 100 snapshot. I want to update the version of this one first and then deploy it. I want somebody who can volunteer. I know Mansa, you know it. Who can volunteer to help me publish this to JFrog Artifactory under releases? So it should not be under snapshot here like this. It should not be like this. It should go under releases. So I want somebody to help me with that. You can do that. Sojana, do you remember how to do it? I will help you, but do you want to take a...
Sorry, Samir, no.
No. Romana?
Same command, Samir, deploy file. And then you have to change.
No. Hold on. Look at this. I want to release it.
First, you have to update the POM file.
Right. How do I update the POM?
With the version set thing, I believe, which you just said now.
Yeah, you should not believe. You should be very assertive about it because you just saw it.
Yeah, set the version using that command that Mansa said.
So this one also I will release it as 100 because I don't want to do multiple. It's going to be 100 to start with for the EPOM. Okay, -t generate backup poms equals to false. Right, and let me copy this command for you so that you can have it later. And let's see, let's try this. And while this is happening, let me go and construct the deploy command for it.
Update the URL to releases.
And remember, this one has to match with the server that you have in the settings.xml. Okay.
Right.
And is it snapshot local and release local, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see what happens. So this is good. So now if I want to run that version grep command, I should see 100 over here. Okay. Now I will take this one and deploy. Let's see if it works. If the URL is not correct, it will not. So now it went and deployed it. So let's go ahead and see release local. So, well, this was the previous one, what we did. So we have this EPOM here now, right? You have version 100 released over here. So this is the first release that you have actually seen, everyone over here, except for people who've already been working. People who are not working had never seen a release. This is the first time that we are seeing a formal release from a snapshot to a release that is being done, I believe. I don't know what we have done with this. Probably we directly released it, not with the command. I don't remember, but this is a release, okay? So we've released it. Now, after we've released the EPOM, we want to go update the version number in framework, remember? Because EPOM, under EPOM, it's framework, and under framework, it is services, correct? Services uses framework, framework uses EPOM. Technically, both of them should be using EPOM, but that's the hierarchy. So now what we will do, we will go to framework and we will update the framework. Agreed?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now comes the beauty of Honeycomb, the library that I've written, one of the beauties of Honeycomb. So what people used to do before Honeycomb, or the library before that we wrote up.
Okay.
Go ahead, Rumana.
Not use, sorry.
Okay. Right. So let's look at this. So this is 100 snapshot. We should be able to look at this also here. So if you see here, it is using 100 snapshot of EPOM. Right? So we will have to first change this version to use 100. So let's change this. And now let's do maven clean package to start with. So it is saying non-resolvable EPOM. And why should it say non-resolvable EPOM? Have we not released 100 yet? Think about it. We have it. We have it here. Dlotusops.
Is it searching for the 100 under the snapshots instead of releasing?
It should not, because we have said releases should come from I am seeing release virtual. Is it going to snapshot virtual? It should go here unless this Dlotusops maven release is mirror. Why is it going to snapshot virtual? Let's go look at our JFrog. Repositories here, and virtual. We have release virtual and snapshot virtual. Snapshot virtual should have both. Doesn't have both. That's where the problem is. Now it should be good. Where is the save though? This guy here froggy. Hiding the save button. Minus U. Okay. Let me explain a bit what's happening. I think we already talked about virtual and we talked about local repositories. Does everybody remember, or do we need a quick refresher on that? So, Janya, do you remember?
Yes, Amit.
You remember the local, the virtual, and the remote repository?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
Local, yeah.
so virtual is just virtual, right? I mean, if you have more than one local repositories, if you want to group them together, they're grouped using the virtual. So what we had was, we had snapshot, we had remote. We did not have a release in there. That's why it was not able to find the release artifact. So what I did is I went to JFrog, I went to the virtual, I went to the snapshot virtual, and I added release over here. And that's how it was able to resolve. Okay. You might have a question, Jyoti might know this, but you might have a question, why do we have a snapshot virtual and a release virtual? This release virtual is usually for a time when we're going to do a deployment to production-like environment. And we do not want to pick up anything that belongs into snapshot. That's the time people are going to use this release virtual repository. Okay. All of the development guys will still use snapshot virtual, which will have a reference to release local repository, which is here. Release local repository. Okay. I'm not going to spend too much time because I think we've already spent a lot of time trying to understand these three things. So we've resolved the issue. Now we are using the EPOM 1.0. Close here. What's wrong? That's why I don't like these IDs. Are you all with me so far?
Yes, Amit.
Right. So yeah, anybody was asking a question? No. Okay, so we are using 1.0.0 over here. And we also want to release framework now. Assuming all the work in framework is done, it's frozen in time, and we want to release 1.0.0. So Janya, now you should tell me what you should do.
Settings.
So if I do cat pom.xml grab version, it's at version 1.0.0 snapshot. I want to change it to version 1.0.0. Forget about -1 or -2. What should I do, Sojanya?
Set version command.
Okay, so set version. First of all, let me copy this whole thing. Yeah, we'll have to rush a little bit because let's complete this. So you want me to run this command?
Yes, Amit.
We might want to do multiple versions of this, so I'll put -1 over here just to differentiate it. -s settings.xml, because it has a dependency on EPOM. Otherwise, it doesn't know how to get it from central. That's why we have to put this. Okay, so I will copy this and put it over here. EPOM, we could run it without any -s because EPOM doesn't have any internal dependency. It's a topmost level. Everything it wants, it can get from central. Okay, Maven central, I mean. Framework depends on EPOM, so we need to give reference to JFrog. Okay, so that is done. What is the next thing that we want to do? We want to deploy this to JFrog. Is this the one, Saujanya?
Yes, Samir. Yeah.
You know what? The answer is no. The answer is no, and technically the answer is no even for this. We could have used maven deploy command. We didn't need to do a maven deploy file. Okay, so that's what we will do now. So we'll do a maven clean deploy -s settings.xml. So I'll copy this from here, put it over here. It has uploaded to JFrog. Questions? Any questions? You should have a question. Anybody? It is framework now. 100-1 should be here. It's here, right? Jyoti, I'm going to do it for services now. What all steps do I have to take to fix this for services? Jyoti, you there?
Samir.
I want to do this same thing for services. I want to release services. What do I have to do?
Can I say, Samir?
Is that
I had to change the maybe version in dependencies.
okay? Let's go and check services. Yep. So this is which project? This is framework. I don't want this. This is services project. So first of all, I have to change this, correct? To use 100.
Yes.
Second one, I'll have to change this version, but I'll use the maven version command. Remember this one thing, okay? If there's only one POM file, you change it manually over here. If you have access to the code, or you use version command, it doesn't really make a big difference. I usually prefer to use the version command. But if you have multi-module project, using version command makes the most sense because you definitely don't want to go to each POM file or change or do a bulk change. You want to avoid that. But anyway, so you're saying we have to come and change this one here, right? Version.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, to avoid this situation, right? What I will do is I will define a property. Okay, and I want your full attention over here because this is closer to what we do in the library. So I will delete this guy from here. I will take this one from here and I will add it as a properties. Okay. So this is what I'm doing. Let me go and see if I'm able to build this. Worked, right? That worked, right? And by default, what version will it use? It will use the version 100-snapshot. But I want to change that version number while building now. Okay. So before doing anything, Saujanya said I have to use the versions command to update the version first. Correct, Saujanya?
Yes, Samir.
And then I want to call the maven clean. Okay, before this we changed. I want to call the maven clean deploy, but if I do a maven clean deploy, what version of framework dependency will it take?
Snapshot version
Snapshot.
1.0.
But I don't want that to happen. So what I would do is I would inject, and this is where the injection, we've looked at it before. And I'll call it as 100-1. That's the version we have for framework, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and do this. And you have to ask me a question because this what I'm doing is a critical piece of work. Let's see if this works. So it is saying dependency information for, that's fine. I usually like to read the warnings. The POM version for Maven site plugin is missing. No dependency information available. So probably the Maven site, well, we don't even need because we are not generating any reports. So we can just ignore it for now. Okay. But our job is done. We have updated the version successfully to 100-1 for services. You see that, right? Now what I want to do is when I do a deploy, I do not want 100 snapshot to be used. I want 100 release to be used of framework. Okay, and that's where what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this command. And let's look.
If there are such multiple dependencies, you can comma separate it here to set their version.
Well, if there are multiple dependencies like this, you don't need to put a comma. You can just put space and then -t the next one, space the -t next one, so on and so forth.
And it will map it to the POM file property version thing.
Sorry, it will what, Romana?
So you're just saying if there are multiples, you just keep the version numbers comma separated, right?
Oh.
Or
What is multiple you're talking about? You'll have multiple properties, right? You cannot define multiple versions. Are you saying something like this?
no, first
Why
I
would you do
meant if, let's say there was one more project and you are referencing that just like framework, and you have
Then
to
you
set
just do
version.
this.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Do that comma separated, is it? Okay.
So there's no
Space separated, I guess.
space separated.
Space separated. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Okay, is this clear to everybody?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, there is an assignment for you here. The assignment is when I do this, when I run this command, it used 100, but okay, let's put it in this way. Let's put it in this way. I have a piece of code. I built the piece of code for release, and I deployed that piece of code to JFrog. Agreed? But as part of our release process, there's one more thing that we need to do, right? And this is basically GitHub, let's say. So we got the code from GitHub, or cloned the code from GitHub. We release built, and we deployed to JFrog. Okay, but there's one critical piece of work that needs to be done is wherever in the lifeline of this code, we build the code from, let's say it was this point, this commit hash. I want to go and tag that code. Okay, in my traditional world now, what I will do is I will go to GitHub, and again, this is important. Okay, I will go to GitHub, let's say framework. I just did a release right from here. What I want to do is I want to create a tag. Somebody told me last time there's a way to create a branch and tag. How do we do that?
So directly we can type there.
Right there. Click on branches.
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 I want to create a tag. So I think create a new release is.
Yeah, we can type there.
Okay, we can type there. Tag here.
Yeah.
B1.0.0-1 like
think
that.
there is no option to create.
Yeah. So tag, I think they don't have it here. It's find and create a branch, right? Tag, they don't have it. So I think you do a view tag and then you create a new release. But before I do this release, right? What I can do is I can go here to my framework. And I'm here. So there was a POM file change. What was the change? We changed it to version number 100-1, and we changed it to Dlotusops-100, correct? Think of it from a developer's perspective, right? Developers never want to see 100. They never want to see this. They always want to see it as snapshot. Maybe this framework, maybe 100, we can keep it as is because we are not going to change it often. But in general, the version number that developers should see should never be 100-1. It should always be 100-snapshot, 200-snapshot, so on and so forth, right? You're never going to commit this because now when the developers clone this, they would start trying to build with 100, which is not correct. So what do we do? How do we avoid that situation? Any recommendation how to avoid it? Yeah.
Maybe they want it with the branch name or commit name with the very.
Answer, what was that?
Maybe they want it with the branch name or the commit ID.
No. Think.
Since you were getting to tagging, is that the answer? Tag it?
Yeah, we will have to tag it for sure because we've done a release. We do not want to miss it, but at the same time, we do not want to
Have developers download.
Yeah, exactly. So there are two ways to do it. One way to do it is when we're doing a release. So now, for example, first of all, I want to see if there's a get ignore file with the VS Code in there. Why is VS Code? We added a VS Code specific thing, right? Yeah, we did. So why is this guy showing up over here? Let's go ahead and first add this, and if I do a git push, the version number is going to be 100-1 in the POM file. So let's see if I can do a git tag. And for git tag, you can open up help if you want to. Git tag -a-m, that's what you'll see actually, but let's. The example. It's going to be git tag -a-m, but there should be a neat example down here somewhere. Okay, anyway, I'll let you search, but it's git tag -a v1.0.0-1 -m is for message, release version 1.0.0-1, git push this is a command that I always forget. I want to push
Tag,
yeah, could
tag
git push
hyphen
version, yeah.
version.
So git push origin v1.0.0. Okay, before we do a push, let's do git tags. Git tag. So we have just one tag, right? So what we want to do is we want to do a push, git push origin v1.0.0-1. Now let's go to GitHub. Let's look at the POM file. It is 100 snapshot only here, right? Which is good. Now let's go and look at the tags. See that? Are you seeing what I'm trying to show?
Yes, Amit.
Yeah. So what we did is we did a git add, we did a git commit, we didn't do a git push, if you remember. After that, we did a git tag, and then we pushed a tag. So from a CI perspective in your mind, if Jenkins has to do all of this automation, the requirement was you should not be updating the POM file, correct? You didn't want to update the POM file. You wanted to keep it as 100 snapshot. Yes, there will be a time when they want to do a major release update. When they want to do a major release update in the company where Jyoti is working, we have given, I have created a different Jenkins project or job, which allows you to change from your previous version to the next version. Jyoti, I don't know whether you've seen it or not.
I mean, I don't know. Same.
Okay, there's one job, ask Pratap, which allows you to change the version to the next version. So if you have 100 and you want to go to 200, you don't have to go to each and every one and change it. You can specify you want to go to the next higher version. You cannot give lower version. That all validation is in place. Okay, so you can move to the next higher version. Under the hood, what is the command that will be used to do that? To change from 100 to 200 snapshot? Set version, right? I mean,
Yes.
the least common denominator is still the same. The fundamental is still the same. There is just, when I'm using the Jenkins file, I'm just adding some more logic around it to make sure that they're not trying to go to the lower version, so on and so forth. But the command is still the same. Okay. I was talking about the assignment. What is the assignment? Let's go and see here. So framework is fine. We did framework, but let's do the same thing for services.
Yes.
When you do the same thing to services, right, there's one critical piece of problem that you would have with services. I don't know whether you guys have realized it or not. When I tag it and push it, the framework version will still remain as 100 snapshot. There is no way the framework version is going to be 100. The reason is we have used this is dynamic. This is changing it during build. It is not actually changing it in the POM file. But now if we tag it, and if somebody wants to create a project from there in the future, they have to remember that I have passed this value dynamically, which is a problem. Don't you see it?
Yes.
You see it, right?
Yes, Sami.
Yes.
So the assignment for you is, before you start building it, you need to have some command to update all of these properties to the version that you want to update it to. Do you understand the assignment? No?
Yes, it's clear.
It's clear? Let me add it. Where do you keep all the assignments, Jyoti?
Dlotusops assignments. Yes. Including that file, list of all assignments. Yeah.
Should I just add here?
Yeah.
Find out how to update properties .xml so that when we build the Maven project, we have right versions in the .xml file at rest. I'm saying at rest because I do not want to use dynamism. Then tag release and tag the. Does this make sense to you? Release and tag the code. So you're going to do a Maven release and then you're going to do a tag and then you're going to push that code up. Do you want me to describe it in a different way or do you think you're good?
We are good, Samir.
Okay. So,
Samir, one question about tagging. So the code form file did not change. It still retained 1.0.00 snapshot version, right? But in tag, we have that release version. Now, if developer has to pick up the code, which form file are they going to get? The snapshot one?
They are always going to take the main line or the develop line. They will never take the tag line. The only reason we create tag is if at all something goes wrong in the release and you want to find out what was really released, or you want to start, let's say the release was released to production and on the main line, they already started doing a lot of work. Now they want to patch something in production. How are they going to patch something in production when they've already done a lot of work on main? They either have to revert all their work, right? Or from the tag, you can create a new branch, commit your latest changes that has to go to production and then release it to production. Are you following me? You're not following me, Rumana?
Not really, Samir. No.
Okay. Is Jyoti and Mansa following me?
Yes. Yes, Samir.
So it's very simple about tagging. Tag when this is the main line. We are not talking even about any other flow. Every commit is happening over here. At this particular point, you released the code. When you release the code, you created a tag over here. Right? Let's call it as a star, let's say. Now developers started working. Did you change the version number on this main line?
No.
So developers started working on it as is. This version that you delivered to production blew up. It's a bomb. Okay. Now, if it blew up, there's a quick fix that you have to do. There's a single line of statement that you have to change, let's say. Now, if you have to go and release it from here, what you have to do? What option do you have? You have to roll back all of this. Correct? Because you don't want to release this to production yet. They are not ready for production.
Correct.
So that's why we create tag. We have this tag so that now what they can do is from this tag, they can create a new branch, which they call it as a hotfix branch, which will only have changes up to here, right? So they'll just add one commit and then release it to production. And as soon as they release it to production, they will merge it over here. And if they want, they don't even need to create a tag anymore because the hotfix branch is for the production release now. But anytime you do this, you have to merge it back into your main line. because otherwise this change that you did will be missed when they want to do a final production release from here.
Got it.
Is that all complicated, or are you guys understanding what I'm saying?
So why not create the branch hotfix branch itself? Why have the tag, and then if there's a need to fix it or patch it, then create a branch out of it and then
You
work on
already answered your question there with that if in there. Did you realize that you already answered the question or no? Because everything that goes to production does not blow up. In 2 weeks, when this code line is ready, we'll be releasing a new code to production. So this hotfix might just hang up over there unnecessarily, not even used. So the whole purpose of tagging is that you create name tags so that if you ever want to fall back and do something with it, it's always there for you to create branch from there.
Okay.
So yeah, if is the answer. Not everything that goes to production breaks. And since not everything that goes to production breaks, we don't have to spend time in unnecessarily creating branches. Now, if you think about one code line, yes, creating a hotfix makes sense. But ask about Jyoti how many code lines she works with. It just doesn't make sense to create a hotfix branch every single time you do a release. So as part of our CI pipeline, we tag the code and we keep it ready. So every time you can just fall back for that particular tag. And again, when you create hotfix branches, it basically floods your GitHub. Unnecessarily, you'll have branches that you don't even need to see. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
In a
Yes,
satisfactory way? Okay. All right, we've not done anything binary model, yes, as such, as yet. So are you guys interested in binary model or no?
I mean, we're interested in.
Okay, so let's move to binary model. But I think all of these things which I was explaining is also equally important. Please look at your assignment. We should be able to set this version number dynamically.
The properties itself, can we add the parent version also?
Sorry, what was that?
The properties, just we added the framework version, right? Like that we can add the parent version also.
Which parent version? This version?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can add it. But as soon as you add it, Maven will give you a warning saying, you should not be doing it in the future. In the future releases, that could be removed. So do it and try it. Even you would think that I would change the version for this one, right? So usually, right, for parent, this version never changes. It's very, very infrequently that changes. So in reality, yes, we should do it. So let's do it, because you're saying it, because in Jyoti's company also we do it. So parent is fine. I was the warning that I was giving to you was this version number warning. Think this way, right? Wow, yeah. Doesn't like it.
No, just like.
Seeing something here. As far as I remember, we do parameterize it, but it doesn't like it when you use a resolution like this. It doesn't like it. See that, right? Out this. Give it a try. It doesn't like variables.
Should we call the properties at the top or no?
Sorry?
Should we call the properties at the top? Before
Properties
the parent. Before
over
the parent.
here. I don't think so. It makes any difference, Jyoti, but I can show you. Hold on.
8 months.
It's XML, right? I don't think so. That's true. That's not true.
Okay.
Okay, so as far as I remember, we don't parameterize. We don't parameterize this. We don't parameterize this. Everything else we parameterize. Bill of material we parameterize. Parent POM we never parameterize. So I think it's not allowed. All right. Let's move to the real one now. Did we release everything that we wanted? Did we release services yet or no? We didn't, right? We released services, didn't we? Yeah, we released services. But we have not tagged services, and there's a reason we didn't tag services, because as soon as you tag, you'll have a wrong property. So the assignment that you're going to do will allow us to tag it. Okay. So now we have this, which is, let's consider this as core, Dlotusops being a core. Let's say we have a new client, Dlotusops client. Okay. Everything else will be same for it. To keep it simple, the only thing that will change is services. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is, in reality, you'll be copying and pasting services over here. And not this. And you'll be adding client, let's say, client 1. Okay, this is what we used to do earlier. Okay, the whole code was being copied, and client 1, client 2, client 3. Now the problem is there is some piece of code over here that changes. There's some piece of code over here that changes, and assume that's happening for all of the client. And now to understand what really changed becomes a lot more difficult. Agreed, right? That's the reason why, like we discussed last time, we want to get into the model of binary model. So now let's go ahead and start doing that. First of all, let's get the source plugin, because we want to do a release. But when we did a release of Dlotusops services, we didn't know about the client, and now there's a new client, and we do not want to copy the whole code. We don't want to duplicate the whole code. Okay. So what we will do is we will bring in the Maven source plugin to start with. Did anybody try using Maven source plugin last time?
No, Samir, I didn't do that.
Let's go to Maven source plugin and Sage. Copy this plugin and go to your service project, the primary project, the service project, right? And in your service project, go to your POM file. In your POM file,
We moved it to EPOM, right?
sorry?
We moved all the plugins to EPOM, right?
Other plugins, Romana. I'm adding the source plugin to the POM file.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to add build plugins. And I'll tell you why it does not belong to EPOM. Why this doesn't belong to EPOM. It doesn't belong to EPOM because everybody who is inheriting from EPOM will start publishing their source. We do not want to do that.
Yeah.
We just want the core to publish their source, correct?
Right.
That's the reason why This is how we will do it. And following the standards, we will parameterize this. It's 3.2.0, which I can remember. Okay, so I've added this source. Look at this target directory over here. How many jars do you see?
One
Just
jar.
one, right? So now what I will do is I will do a maven clean package -s settings.xml. Expectation is I would see 2 jars. Let's see if it fails or works.
For 2 classes.
One for the source, one for the binary. Yes. You see it? Let's go here so that it's easier. Target. How many jars do you see now?
Yeah, 2 jars.
So this jar is the original jar, which will have binaries in it, .class in it. If you go inside, you'll see .class here. So these are binaries, right? And if you go here, you'd see .java, which is source. So that's why instead of calling it a binary model, I like to call it as a maven assembly model. Okay. 7zip open. So if you go inside here, you'd see your Java files. So the first step of binary model is complete. But what we still need to do is we have to do a maven clean deploy. So maven clean deploy -s settings.xml. So I should be seeing source in where?
JFrog.
JFrog. Rest. See that? There should be a jar, POM, and a sources jar. Up with me so far?
Yes.
Yes.
Now what we want to do is this project, which was a bigger issue for us, that clients were duplicating the classes. We didn't want them to duplicate classes. So technically, what I want to do is just get rid of this target because it's generated, get rid of its VS Code. I don't need it. Get rid of Git because it doesn't belong here. It's a new client, right? There'll be a new repo created for it. Source is the interesting piece. Test, definitely there's nothing inside here which we can get rid of. So I will get rid of the test project from here. Main, if you really look at it, there are classes here. I don't need those classes. Technically, I don't even need source. I want the source to be brought from the sources jar of the core to start with. Okay, so just what happened here? Change the name. Wow. Just for the sake of it, I will keep this source because I want the structure. So I will keep src test Java from Dlotusops services. And if there's a blank folder, right, it never gets committed to GitHub. So if you want it to be committed to GitHub, the recommended way is to add a file and call it as .gitkeep.
Okay. We also do the same.
Yep. Main Java com Dlotusops services. I don't want these 2 files. Keep it as .gitkeep over here. All right. Now, what I want to do is, I don't have any class, right? I mean, there's nothing, no classes over here. So I want to add that magic. So that magic is what we will look at next. So I will go to again and say maven. You can Google actually, okay? Just because I'm saying assembly, it took us a lot of time to figure out that it's assembly plugin, right? We want to bring in jars from somewhere else. So now if you go to goals, is it maven assembly plugin only? Should be.
Is it an assembly plugin or source plugin, Samir?
No, source plugin we already did and created the source, right? Now we want to bring the source and extract details from there. So that's what we're looking at. It was assembly only. But why does it look different to me? Pack and unpack. That's what I'm looking at. Where are the goals? Only 2 goals that are showing up. Jyoti, you should be knowing this, right? What is the goal?
Samir.
Maven dependency plugin. I think so. Yeah. One. Yep. It's looking at the wrong one. So we want to bring in the dependency and we want to extract those items in there using the include and exclude. So my bad. That's what I'm looking at it. I'm like, where is the goal? I don't see the goals. So there are these goals, right?
Use dependency plugin in most of the POM files.
Yeah. So that's the one, the dependency plugin. So let's pick up this plugin from here, along with all of this. And I will go to this guy here. And first of all, I want to change the names, right? -client1, let's say. And the version number is -snapshot. And everything else remains the same. Framework is fine. Should be good. Let's take some happiness and see if this is building. Yes, it is building. And now we will go ahead and add this plugin, and let's study that plugin a little bit. So Maven, first of all, let's parameterize this 330. Okay, and let's come down over here. It says execution is unpacked, phase is package, goal is unpacked, good. Artifact. So which artifact do we want to bring in? We want to bring in almost the same artifact, right? The same group ID. this group ID, what you see over here. So I will just copy this whole thing. Only thing is it will not be client one, it will be services only. So group ID, artifact ID version. Type is jar. Classifier is sources. Because we don't want to bring, what is it saying?
Typos.
Is there a typo you see anywhere? Oh, class C. Yeah, classifier sources. You know why I'm putting sources over here, right? It's not the binary, we want the source. Overwrite is false, output directory is generated sources. That's where we will bring it. Destination file, I don't care about it for now.
Mr. Samir, can you update artifact ID?
Yes, yes. And include, I want to include, let's say, all Java files. And exclude, I don't want to exclude anything now, but I'll keep it commented out because we will need to talk about it. All this I don't want. Override release is false, override snapshot true. Let's see if this brings us at least a target folder, okay? Inside target folder, there's no generated sources here. There's nothing inside it. See that, right? So let's see at least if that works. If it fails, it's okay. We will figure out if it feels better. The functional, the fundamentals, are you still with me? Are you following, or have you already lost it somewhere in between?
Following Samir.
Saujanya, are you following it?
Yes, Samir.
Okay, what about Mansa and Jyoti?
They're following you.
Yes, Samir.
Okay, so what it is saying here is could not find artifact.
Might be
Lotus
the
ops.
version.
Yeah, I
version.
think we have to bring 100-1, right? Where did I put a version? That one, correct? Because snapshot, we have not done a source release. If we do a source release for snapshot, hopefully that will work. So now if I go to generated sources, you see this guy? Okay,
Yes.
but the fun part is, right? As I tell you, another lesson, you always connect the dots together. Now, if I do a maven clean package -s settings.xml, the problem is this class files will still not come. Here, if I'm not wrong. Let's see. See? No com folder, no classes, nothing. Although it is there in generated sources, it is not inside here.
It
Right.
has to be in source folder.
You cannot put it in source folder, because if you put it in source folder and then commit it by mistake, you're lost. So we have to do something different. There is a plugin called Maven Build Helper plugin. Which will come to our rescue. It has an option called add source. Okay. Let's pick up this plugin from here. Now you understand, I think you're kind of getting a little comfortable with plugin at least, right? What is the purpose of the plugin? You said it right, Rumana, you're not wrong when you said you want to add it to source. But my point is, you don't want to add it to this source, because as soon as you add to this source and you commit this by mistake, the developers are able to see all of your classes there, and
Right.
it becomes a duplication. Okay. So first thing first, the whole reason I'm doing this is I want you to understand how much it's important to keep your code clean. Okay, everything that's commented out should eventually go. What happened to this guy here? Gone crazy. It's gone crazy because we have not updated the settings file for the IDE to use this settings files. That's why it's trying to go to Maven Central and saying it's not found. Okay, that's fine. Now coming down over here, what we want to do is, we said the directory where we want to keep it is generated source. So we will need this directory, because any content in here, we'll have to make it as source. Add source. Okay, let's see if this works. Jyoti, you should be kind of feeling that nirvana situation where you're able to connect the dots now, right? What really is happening behind the scene? No, Jyoti doesn't feel that. I still don't see it here actually. We'll figure out what's happening. Let's see what phase are we talking about. So generate sources.
What was that Maven folder for, Samir, when you unzipped it? That was not there before. Yeah, jar file. Jar
Yes.
file. Yeah, and if you double click on
Oh,
it.
it was always there. It's a manifest. It's
No,
a
there was
manifest.
one more folder, Maven folder. Can you double
It is
click?
inside the manifest.
Okay.
Right. It's inside the manifest. So here we want to bring it. We don't want to bring it until package. We want to bring it earlier. So I would say generate sources only. I'll use the same goal. What this guy has the phase, right? I'll use the same phase, because otherwise this works. Yeah, see that? It's 4 KB. That means the classes are in there now. See? Compiled and ready. Now with this model in place, look at what power you get. Okay, the power is you can now create your own class over here. Okay, let's say the good morning.java class you don't want to use from them, you want to use yours. So you can add good morning.java over here. Okay, let's see what happens now. Okay, with just this, and this is not an intelligent IDE.
Why we are not seeing those classes, Samir, inside source?
Asking me who's Ram after teaching you the whole Ramayana. Really?
You just brought in those files, right?
But that's what I told you, Rumana, right? We are not bringing it inside source. It is there in generated sources. Yes.
Yeah, and using that plugin, you were able to, the second plugin.
Yes, that I'm able to tell it is add to source while building, not put it in source folder. And I told you, if you bring it here, the developers are going to be confused. You still want to attach it as source, but you don't want to add it to source, not to this SRC. Understand? Not understand?
Understood.
Okay. Okay. So now this guy, I edit over here. I copy intent from here in here, but I don't say good morning. I say namaste. That's the enhancement that I wanted to do for the client. Everything else for the client is same. But now, since there are two packages with the same name, one is this good morning, and the other one is the good morning that it will bring dynamically and try to attach it. It should get into ambiguity issues, right? It should get into trouble, right?
Right.
So let's see if that scenario works. Expectation is it should break. Yeah, it breaks. And it says there's duplicate. See that? So now what we have to do? Now we have to come to something that we commented out earlier. We have to use the benefit of exclude. And we'll say, what was that? Good morning.
Why don't you just delete it from target source?
Source is the enhancement that I want to do for the client.
No, not
Target,
from there. Yeah.
Target is dynamically brought in. I don't bring it manually. So there's no way I can delete it. It is being brought in by this plugin.
Right.
So in this plugin, I'm telling him bring everything, but exclude good morning.java. Is everybody following, or have I already put you all to sleep? Okay. Now, when I go into this,
it will not bring good morning Java.
It should be the different good morning Java, right? It should not be our good morning Java. So to validate that, let's see if I'm able to run this. I'll have to add it the main class, but let's see, Java minus jar. Jar com dot lotus ops dot services, correct? Dot shoot. Isn't it services good morning? On Dlotusops services dot good morning. Add a manifest. I want to just call the class. So minus CP. Let's do that. CP is class path.
Still have to use jar, right?
Sorry?
You still have to use jar option?
No, I'm specifying it as a class path. What it is saying is no class def found error. Oh, utility. Oh, I'll have to give the path to the framework also, right? Because it doesn't know where the framework is. So framework, let me do one thing. Just for the sake of telling you that it'll print namaste, right? Let me get this guy framework from here. Target this one. And you don't need to know all of this, okay, what I'm doing. I just want to show you that the class which is in there, I can definitely create a look at the bytecode and show you that it's the right class in there, but I just want to show you it in running. -cp, I think it's semicolon if I'm not wrong. Semicolon or comma, I don't remember, but
Try comma space.
yeah. Could not find a load main class. First of all, let's make sure that good morning class is actually in there. I'm pretty sure it should be, but you never know. There is good morning.class. I'm going to give kind of weird because maybe we should do star or jar maybe. Let's try that. Yeah, the fact is we never do this like this. This class not found, Lotus Ops Service Client 100. Okay, let's do a different way because running this is never not our intent right now. So let's open this up and here. Let's go to that class and we will decompile that class. So this class, right? I will extract it to target and I will take it to Visual Studio Code. Let's see if it has a decompiler. If it doesn't have, I will show you how else you can do. So there's, if you go Google out for decompiler, you should be able to download this guy. Extract it. And run it. And then the file which is there, which we were looking at earlier, here, just bring that file on here. Open. Doesn't want to open. Somewhere. What? It's not right. never seen this happen before. Paste. So what we're trying to actually see is that, so if I open, you might think, why is Samir not opening it up in Notepad++? You're going to see junk because it's a binary file, right? I want to show you that there is namaste in there, which I'm 100% sure, but now just get it working. This it doesn't like. I don't know why. It's a drag and drop, but
Not focusing. Okay.
yeah, I've never seen it's not working ever before.
One of the Stack Overflow recommends that you use semicolon and then dot for separation of class files. You want me to send that link? What we were trying to do before?
Yeah, you can just tell me what do you say?
You were separating with semicolon or comma, right? Do that with semicolon and then dot. Let me send that link to you.
That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Okay. Just send that link.
Yeah, I mean, worst case was, I really don't know why that decompiler is not working. It should work. But you should trust me, it's the same file, which is created locally, because I showed you the duplicate right earlier. And as soon as we added exclude, we don't see duplicate. So you got to trust me on that. But I don't know why.
It's a bug, it seems, and that's the workaround. Semicolon and then dot.
You sent something?
In chat. If you scroll down a little further down. Yeah, if you see, notice.
Like that? Yeah, it is for some reason saying could not find or load main class. There is no main class in there. Let me see if good morning should technically have main method in there. Over here. So we'll do one thing, okay? We've already seen this working before. So we will make it working. What we want to do is we want to add a manifest. And as per the EPOM that we had created, here. Yeah, why not make it executable jar? Let's make it executable jar. You'll get to see one more plugin. Let's look at maven sheet plugin. Yeah, I thought this approach would have been easier, either using the JD GUI, which is for Java decompiler. Let's do shade. Executable jar. Pick up this plugin from here and go to your jar, go to your POM file, and let's do this 330. And then the implementation that we want to use is that's the package, and we don't need Java. Okay, let's see if we are able to build this. And the whole problem is gone. Failed to clean the project. Why it is opening this guy? Target, have you opened it up somewhere? Target. Oh. It's clean, go ahead, do it. Who is holding to this target? Shoot, I don't really understand this sometimes. Yeah, I mean, the whole reason I'm spending so much time here is because we are done with binary model. I just want to get this last piece out to you guys. So what we are doing is we are trying to create an Uber jar. I have not talked about Uber jar earlier. Uber jar is something that bundles everything, every dependency is inside it. It's a fat jar. Okay, so now if you see here, there should be one more jar, which is going to be a little bigger, 7 GB, right? So if I open this up.
So it brings in the framework dependency as well, framework project.
Yes. So if you see here, it brings in the framework also. It brings in this, all of the services. So now if I run this jar, I can run it as a maven jar, and there should be a manifest file also in there. The main class specified. Give me 1 second, okay. Right. So now I can do a maven java minus jar Dlotusops, whatever that name is. See that? Namaste, Samir. Now you trust me?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yep.
Good. You guys were not trusting me so long.
No.
Okay, this is not a Git repository, but you need the code, right? You will need the code. So what I will do is, let's wrap this up quickly. But it's a good thing that you got to learn shade plugin, which I didn't intend to show you today. Where's that? Services. Okay, Dlotusops services.
You're checking in this for us, right, Sami, for us to practice, but in a so this service client one that we created, that this would go to JFrog, right? This would be maintained in JFrog.
Well, I mean, client, we don't need to necessarily deploy to JFrog. Everything else is in JFrog. All the core libraries are in JFrog. Client also can go to JFrog if you want to. Nothing stops you. But what I would suggest you is try to do it locally as much as possible. Is that what you're asking?
No, the difference code that is sitting in client one, which is
okay. Just a second, Rumana. Let me push this,
okay.
And then I'll come to your question.
Sure. I'll be right back, Samir, once again.
Yeah. Okay, so this is here. Let's do the same thing for the other ones, okay? If the versions are using release version, just change those versions, okay? When you're working on it. Dlotusops services. This is because of your project, right? Assignment, I have not pushed it, but do you want me to just push it for now? There's an assignment around it actually that you have to change the properties. But anyway, I have pushed everything in there. Romana, are you back? Okay, not. So are you all clear with what is done so far today? That wraps up the binary model in the fundamental concept point of view. Any questions around binary models? No?
No, sir, we are good.
I will stop recording then.